in my humble opinion, is one of the best that we have here, and I appreciate it. He is so good. He can get the tune all fouled up, and we just follow him. I mean, we all follow that. That's pretty good. Where he leads me, we will all follow. I've never heard it sung that way, and it sounded pretty good after we got going with it. So, wow, what a great day. What a great day. Do y'all have a picture back in the back of this good-looking lady that y'all can put up there? Folks can see. Y'all know who that is, right? You see the family resemblance? Let me stand over here. It might help you a little bit. Now, if you've wondered, where did Jeff get his good looks from? That's where I got them from, right there. That is my mother, and a lot of you are honoring your mother with tributes and things, and here's what I said about my mother late last evening on Facebook, and I never bragged on her enough. Never did. My mother, my first friend, my first teacher, my first nurse, my first defender, my first chauffeur, my first example. Her eyes were the first I saw. Her voice was the first I heard. She gave me my first meal, my first bath, my first spanking, my first Bible. She dried my first tears. She endured my first sermons. When it comes to all-time great mothers, she may not be first, but she's close. And so I wanted to share that with you. I'm kind of sensitive, emotional. Not an apology, just an explanation. I'd kind of like to think that our mothers who have gone on to be with the Lord, they didn't leave us. You know that. They went on to be with God, and they are still with us in our hearts and in our heads, right? Which is a good thing. And I'd like to think I can't, just being completely transparent with you, I can't turn to any verses and back up what I'd like to think, but I'd like to think that our moms who've gone on to be with the Lord can kind of keep an encouraging eye on us and just kind of be a part of our lives moving forward. And I think it helped me to be an even better preacher if I thought, all right, Mom's listening to what I'm saying, just as my Heavenly Father's listening, so I really need to get this right. And I know that my mom listened to me a lot, and she listened to me as I preached. Late in life, very sick lady. Won't go into all the details, but she was in the, I was tempted to say just now, she was in the pew whenever I preached. She wasn't physically able to be in the pew. She was able to be in a wheelchair, and she was here. She is with us, and I am so thankful God gave me a mom like that. I'm so thankful He gave so many of us moms like that. And I would say to you who have your mom with you in a pew next to you or near you today, this is a remarkable gift that you have today. Cherish this time. Cherish this moment. And for those who have your mothers with you in your heart today, not in a pew, I would also say to you the same. This is a gift that you savor. She is in your heart. She has a presence still. She also, I hope, is in your ears. That you still hear the things that Mom used to say. The things that challenged you, maybe sometimes embarrassed you, sometimes maybe offended you. But everything my mom ever said to me, I'm sure matches up with everything that your mom ever said to you, and that is this. She said it because she loved me, because yours loved you, because they wanted the best for us. I think about Jesus frequently and His relationship with His beloved mother. And I want you to turn to the Gospel of John now, John chapter 2. I want you to notice something very wonderful about their relationship that we would do well to have in our relationship with our mom. This is John chapter 2, beginning with verse 1. On the third day, On the third day, and you can take my mom's photo down. Everybody's going to be distracted forever looking at that good-looking lady. John chapter 2, beginning at verse 1. On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. That's always good news where mom is. Something good's going on where mom is. Now, both Jesus and his disciples were invited to the wedding. And when they ran out of wine, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine. There's a problem. I expect you to be a problem solver." That's what she's saying, and he did that for her. Jesus said to her, "Woman, what does your concern have to do with me?" If I'd said it that way to my mom, it wouldn't have gone over too well with my daddy. But in the original here, it's not so much that he's being disrespectful. He's just saying, "Mom, if I fix this problem in a miraculous way, my earthly ministry is going to get started, and you don't really know probably what you're asking, because I know how that journey is going to end. Mine hour has not yet come." His mother, notice what she does, verse 5. His mother said to the servants, "Whatever he says to you, do it." Now, moms have always tried their best to give us great direction, advice, and instruction, but it does not get any better than that. This mother saying to these servants, "Whatever Jesus says to you, do this. Do this." And the servants listened to Mary, the mother of Jesus. And Jesus, as you know the rest of the story, he also listened to his mother. There's always a great blessing in listening to mom. We're told in the Scriptures, for example, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 2, that we're to honor our father and our mother. And there are a lot of ways to honor father and mother. One of the best ways, it seems to me, to honor mom is to listen to her. Now, this comes with a qualifying intro, though. We listen to mom if God gave us a godly mother, because godly mothers are saying godly things. And when godly mothers say godly things, it helps us to be godly children if we do the godly things we're hearing from godly moms. And if we don't listen to godly mothers saying those godly things, and we don't do those godly things, it makes us ungodly. God has felt so powerfully and strongly about how we should be honoring our mothers that back in Old Testament times, if we failed to honor mom, we would be publicly executed. Now, we don't want to focus on honor mom, because if we don't, it's a really bad thing. Let's focus on this. We honor mom because if we do, it's a really good thing. We receive dynamic and plentiful blessings, and we bless our mamas when we also listen to her. You have been very good, many of you, in sharing with me the past few days words of advice that you got from your mother. And you are seeing some of the things that have come from you, from your mom, through you to me, to this church today. And one of the things we'll do now is we'll look together at some things that we heard our godly mothers say. And I want to thank you for your contributions to this, and the way that you responded, and the way that you have honored your mother in remembering the godly things that she has said. But pay attention. Jesus listened to his godly mother. Servants listened to his godly mother. We listen to her as she tells us to listen to Jesus, and whatever he says, do it. Whatever he says about salvation, let's do that. Whatever he says about worship, let's do that. Whatever he says about forgiveness, let's do that. Whatever he says about loving you understand the idea. Whatever he says, let's do it. So, without any further delay, let's listen to these moms. This is your mom talking. You can hear these words come from her mouth. Your mother said, "God knows and sees everything. You will never get more from anything than you put into it. Mother said, "Who told you that everything would be fair? Whatever you do," interesting way of phrasing this, "whatever you do, it's your bed, and you had toiled in it. A stitch in time saves 9. Mama said it. What did she mean by it? That next phrase, that doesn't come from Mom. That's my explanation of it. Maybe for some of our children here need to know. It means that acting promptly will save us some trouble, some hardship later. We got to tend to our knitting right here, right now. The longer we wait, more difficulties we're going to have down the road. Procrastination is a bad, bad thing. Have fun, Mom said, in the right way, and be home by 10 p.m. Nothing good happens after that. And you'll notice as we go through some of these that some moms said 10 o'clock, some moms said 11 o'clock, some moms said 12 o'clock, but a lot of moms said there's a certain time in which good people don't need to be away from this house, away from Mom and her protection. You told one lie, go ahead and tell another one to cover it up. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Always, you remember Mom telling you this? Always live within your means. This particular mother who suggested this, actually, I don't think ever had a credit card, which is not a bad plan. Not a bad plan. When I was a teenager, I do not remember my mother ever telling me to behave when I went somewhere. The only admonition I remember is that she would tell me to remember who I was. She called me son. She would say, "Son, remember who you are." Remember who you are. I did not want to disappoint her, but I'm sure I did a few times. Remember Mother saying, modesty is the policy. Not modesty is the best policy. Modesty is the policy. I love that. Be careful, Mother said, about burning bridges, because that same bridge you burn, you just might have to cross it again. So be careful how you treat people. The one you mistreat might be the one you just might have to ask for help. Several mothers said this: sweep off your own doorstep before you try to sweep off someone else's doorstep. This little statement, you can guess who turned some of these in. This little statement would usually stop my sisters and me from any further sharing of school gossip. My mom and dad were raising 5 girls, so you can imagine. Even today, this comes to mind if I am tempted to join in some gossip. Do you have a mother that said this? Use it, wear it out, make it do, or do without. Pretty strong. She told me to remember who I was in any situation. She would say it takes a lifetime to build a good name and just a few minutes to destroy one. Now, I had to edit what some of the guys turned into me on occasion, and you'll see some of that in this section. Probably a lot of we men were told by our mothers as we were about to marry who it was that we married, you outkicked your coverage. I'm not even going to mention that Matt Parker turned this in. I think that might embarrass him, so we'll just move on. A lot of us outkicked our coverage, didn't we, men? I feel compelled to say that I are on that list as well. I think of great mothers, and I think of my own mother, Eunice, but I also think of Judy. I think that she does a remarkable job mothering 3 children, and in a sense, mothering many of us with all the things that she does in addition to that. We are We are blessed, and if she wasn't married to me, I'd brag on her a whole lot more. So you know that. We're blessed with good mothers. Do a good job. We've outkicked our coverage, many of us. As I get older, as I get older, I realized not all people out past 12 midnight are bad, but all bad people are out past 12 midnight was truer than I thought. Think about that a little bit. And like the country song said, Mama knows. A lot of times Mama knows. Now, this is a condensed version of something someone gave me that had gotten in trouble with Mom and got a good spanking and apparently deserved a good spanking. Is there ever such a thing as a good spanking? But you understand the point. Got a thorough spanking, and at the end of the thorough spanking, this little boy said to his mother, I'm sure with much tears, "You hurt me. I mean, how dare you, Mom? You hurt me." I love Mom's reply, "I meant to hurt you." I mean, there's sometimes we do things and there ought to be a penalty. When we can do the wrong thing and there's no penalty, we're going to keep doing the wrong thing. So thank you, God, for giving us moms who hurt us when we hurt them. To me, that's a very powerful point. You're never too old for a spanking. Your mom ever say that to you? Be in by 10 o'clock. Only the devil's work takes place after 10 p.m. Now this is interesting. Never depend on a man to make you a living. Make sure you can always take care of yourself. Please God and don't worry about the others. Now this was from a mother to a daughter. Never learn plumbing. And I'm sure there's a story behind that, and you can probably imagine what that might be. Just remember, whatever comes out of your mouth can never be taken back. Nasty words taste terrible when trying to eat them. One day, you'll meet someone who gets you. And I'm sure this was said to somebody that was not yet married. The devil didn't come out until 11 p.m. Teach your children to say Dada first, so they'll be calling him during the night and not you. So that's why they said Daddy first. Okay? My mom always said it was just as bad to think something as to say it, so I just let it go and let her rip. That's not good. Don't put yourself down. There are plenty of people out there willing to do that for you. Sit up straight. Walk more upright and not slouch. And the person who followed this guidance said, I feel better physically when I do this. One of the best things to learn is how to wait. And from the same sort. And some of these came from grannies, not always moms. Keep enough quilts to make an extra pallet on the floor. Somebody might need a place to sleep. That's a good family, isn't it? Providing for others. Marry somebody who will help you get to heaven. The best way to have a great life is to marry well. The worst way to have a terrible life, the worst way to have a good life, I guess you'd say, is to marry not so well. Who we marry is the number one determiner of the quality of life we have here. Who we marry is the number one determiner of where we shall spend our eternity. We need to marry somebody that will help us get to heaven. We need to be somebody that other people can marry, and we will help them get to heaven also. I added a little bit there to what Mom said, but you get me on that, I'm sure. My mom would remind my sister and me to breathe. In tense moments, we would not realize we're holding our breaths. Remember, the old devil is always hanging on to your coattail. And again, this one came up many times. Don't ever try to sweep off your neighbor's doorstep until you clean your own first. Remember that reputations are fragile. and they follow you around. And one mom was prone to say, "Do not provoke me." I think she probably needed to be listened to on that. When out in public, mind your manners. You represent us. If you act as pretty as you look, you'll be just fine. It was not from my mom. Be myself, she said to me. Be humble, be proud, and don't turn your nose up, for someone will come along and put you in your place. And some moms also have said, get your college degree. Mom has also said things like, put God first, family second, and work third. Can I read that again? God first, family second, and work third. That if we did not put God first in our lives, nothing would ever work out right for us. The second thing she taught us was that when we got a funny feeling in our gut, or that little voice whispering in your head, you better listen. That was God's way of telling you something's not right. Be careful. The third thing she taught us was that until you have children of your own, you will never understand. The older we get, the more like ourselves we become. The only spanking I ever got from my grandmother was when I wouldn't say John 3:16 before bedtime. She repeatedly told me it would save me. And I know this woman, and she does live a great life, and I'm sure a lot of this has to do with the influence from Granny and verses like John 3:16. The job worth doing is worth doing right. Don't be afraid to stand up for what's right. No matter what mistakes you make in life, your mother still loves you. After you marry, very important point, pay attention. After you marry, don't bring your troubles home, like back to your parents' home. You'll soon forget them, but your parents will not. Always look your best no matter the circumstances, some moms have said. And one fellow shared this with me. He said, I spelled elephant, you see that there? My mom told me then that I could learn to spell and that I could also learn to do anything in life that I really wanted to do. And I know this man, and he obviously did learn to spell elephant because this is a copy of his actual writing to me. He spelled it correctly, and his mother did give him the confidence to not just spell elephant correctly, but to live a wonderful life with a wonderful wife. And it just, Mom knows best most of the time. She just really does. Never let your children forget that you love them. This was a mother to a young mother. You can, this is one that needs some thinking. You can throw more out the back door in tablespoons than you can bring in the front door in shovels. What in the world does that mean? I Googled that to try to figure out what that means and it's not on the internet. That's from Mom. There's no explanation found in the world for this other than I'm thinking it means don't waste. Don't waste. And so you mothers later can tell me exactly what that means because I need to know what that. You can throw more out the back door in tablespoons than you can bring in the front door in shovels. It's got to be good. If the switch breaks, you're in trouble. Now you know the context of that. Go get me a switch. And don't be getting one of those puny switches. Life's too short to fight. Everything is going to work out. It always does. Life isn't fair. And some of these moms kept saying, you must learn to stay home. Okay, here's another one. A dog that brings a bone carries a bone? No clue. No clue. Google has no clue. But I'm sure it's important. A dog that brings a bone carries a bone. And please tell me later what this means. You have made your bed, so you have to lay in it. We got that. Always put God first and everything else will fall into place. She told all our children when we ever left home to go someplace to bathe and put on clean underwear because we never knew when we might be in an accident, wind up in the hospital. And some of you work in emergency rooms. Is that really a problem in emergency rooms? I mean, a lot of us just showing up and you think, wow, that guy's got on filthy underwear. I mean, is that? That'd be bad. Don't want to distract the medical crew. You can be the smartest kid in class without having to tell everyone. I love this, don't make a permanent decision for your temporary emotion. Y'all got that? Eat what you put on your plate. I will wash your mouth out with soap. And one mother said, who's already been overwhelmed with blessings, don't give me a card, a corsage, or any gift because I don't have anywhere to put it. Now, I don't know if she really means that, but she's saying it. Use your own judgment there. It doesn't cost any more to be nice. And how would you feel if someone did this particular thing to you that you're doing to them? Your lies will either catch you or meet you. Remember who you are and who you belong to. When I told my mom I was taller than she was, she told me that was okay. It just made her closer to my rear end for a whooping. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Every mom has said that. Every godly mom has said that. Remember where you came from, because at some point you'll have to go back there. Always be able to take care of yourself and not depend on anyone else to take care of you. Go into marriage as an asset, not a liability. Choose your friends wisely. You're known by the company you keep. When someone would say or do something to me that was for sure false or wrong, she would say, if they can live with it, you can live without it. And this not from growing up in the house, but when this lady became a mom. My mother always told me to always talk to your girls. She meant to explain things, share thoughts, and keep communication open. That's been a blessing to me. You reap what you sow. I brought you into this world, and you know the rest. I can take you out. Do not do anything you'd mind Jesus seeing you do. Act as though Jesus is physically with you. Always tell the truth. 2 wrongs do not make a right. Once you start something, you are not going to quit. You're going to finish. You're going to finish. Talking about these good projects we get involved in, these finish. Birds of a feather flock together. On Saturdays, this dates somebody a little bit, doesn't it? On Saturdays, well before bedtime, Mother would say to my brother and me, finish your Bible lesson and polish your shoes, if you haven't already done so before going to bed. I'm guessing those kids turned out really, really well. Wouldn't you agree? If your buddy jumps off a bridge, does that mean you're going to do the same thing? What do y'all think about this? Girls never call boys. What about this one? Eat your chocolate. Now, that's a great mom. No mom ever said that, but I wanted to put it down there because you should say that to your kids. All right, the most frequently mentioned advice. This is what, they're not going to put it up just yet. Well, what do you think that would be? And this one came to me time after time after time. I didn't count how many, but it was a lot. It blew the rest out of the water, so to speak. The number one piece of advice most frequently mentioned is this: pretty is as pretty does. Now, there are a lot of you, I don't know what that means. Pretty is as pretty does. In other words, it's better to do good than to look good. If you really want to be pretty, do pretty things. You want to be beautiful, be one who has beautiful attitude, who has beautiful words, who lives a beautiful life. It'll be like that proverb, virtuous woman. The inner beauty. Put up Mom's picture earlier. She was a 10 physically. She was 1,010 on the inside. And that's what matters. When you saw her late in life, Frankly speaking, the physical beauty due to illness, it faded away in large measure. Inside became even more beautiful as the decades rolled along. Pretty is as pretty does. Now I want to close up with this. This is a tribute to, I got a lot of tributes to mothers. They teared me up, really, because I'm living through these like you're living through them as well. So I want to end up with a tribute that I got for a particular mother that just kind of will knock you emotionally off your pew. And you think if you're sitting here as a mom, I want to be a mom like that. And that's a standard for all of us to live up to. And many of us will be thinking, I'm glad, Mom, that I had a mom similar to that. A tribute to our mother. We were the most fortunate 7 children in the world, not because of fame and fortune, but because we were lucky, I'd say blessed enough to call Mamie Holt our mother. Even though by worldly measures, others may have failed to realize our great fortune, we truly knew we were rich according to all of the standards that really, really mattered. Our mother was capable of accomplishing almost anything. Although she never wore many famous designer clothes, she both designed and sewed clothing for her 7 children. Even in difficult times, she always made sure we had new clothes when an important occasion, such as Easter, arrived, always convincing us that she herself neither wanted or needed a new dress. As we grew in years, we realized this was only one of the many sacrifices she made for her family. Her home didn't contain the most expensive furniture, but she could pass the white glove test of cleanliness any day or hour of the week. However, her love for cleanliness didn't stop with her own house. She and Daddy always took pride in making sure the church building looked just as immaculate. Although Mother never attended culinary school, for you that came from places like Bruton, that means cooking school, where I came from, culinary school, she didn't attend that kind of place. She served meals fit for royalty, and guests were always welcome at her table. When a visiting gospel preacher was in town, she could always be counted on to prepare a meal for him and his family. Rearing 7 children had to be stressful, yet she still found time to cook a meal for someone who was sick or bereaved, quilt to quilt for someone in need, or collect clothes for those who were without. She never took an agricultural class, but she and Daddy always had a bountiful garden to share with their family and friends. None of their harvest was allowed to waste. If they couldn't find someone who could use it, Mother would can or freeze it anyway, even though she had already prepared more than we needed. Mother was not a nurse, but she loved and cared for Daddy when his health began to fail, as well as 2 children who suffered and lost their lives to cancer, an experience that any mother hopes never to face. She never earned a teaching degree, yet our mother not only taught her own children about the important things in life, she taught the 4- and 5-year-old children in Sunday school for more years than most can even recall. She wasn't an author, and I love this. Wake up now, pay attention. She wasn't an author, yet one of her Sunday school students was actually convinced that she wrote the Bible. I love that. Anybody think you wrote the Bible? She never drove a car, but she always managed to attend worship services, often when she really was not able. Although she didn't leave us a lot of worldly riches, she left us something of much more value. She taught us how to live, love, and die with dignity, an inheritance we will always cherish. Even as her mind and body grew weak, still she never failed to tell us not to worry about her each time we left. So, and here's the grand finale to this tribute. So how do we pay tribute to a mother such as ours? Ask yourself this question now. How do you pay tribute to a mother such as this or your own mother? Hopefully, by striving every day of our lives to follow the example she and Daddy left for us, so that we can join them in that home beyond the sky when our lives here on earth are over. This is a spectacular mother that we honor. You are spectacular mothers that we all honor as well. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your devotion. And if you were blessed to have a godly mother, whatever she says to you, even now is continuing to say to you, literally, physically, you can hear her say these things. Or she's now stepped into eternity and you can remember her saying these things. Whatever she has said to you, whatever she is continuing to say to you, if it comes from the heart of God, through her to your ears, whatever Mama says, do it, and you'll be blessed. You really, really will be blessed. Give her this gift today. That's what she needs. That's what she wants. You remember the Apostle John, near the end of his journey in this life, he said, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth. And his children were the church. Mamas, daddies, we feel the same, don't we? No greater joy than to know that our children are walking in the truth. Children, give your parents that gift. Give them that joy. Beg their forgiveness for the times that you've hurt them. Parents, let's beg the forgiveness of our children for the times that we've hurt them. If we've still got them, we still have a great opportunity to have a wonderful life with them, both here and in the hereafter. Thank God for your moms. Thank God for your dads. Thank God for your sons and for your daughters and the opportunity to be in a family like that. Thank God also for the opportunity to be in a forever family, His church, like this. Moms with flaws, but moms with big hearts. They have the heart of God. And we are a better place, we are a better church for each of them. Tonight, when you come back, we're going to look at our mother-in-laws a little bit. We're going to talk about that great mother-in-law Naomi and her daughter-in-law Ruth. And Sister Bonnie Walker gave us some good things. I'll share a point or two with you from that. And I'll share another thing or two from some folks who got some things into me past the homework deadline concerning their moms. I want to share just about 3 or 4 of those with you tonight. Can we think of it this way? If your mom would want you to come forward and ask for prayers right now, that may be what you need to do. If your God would want you to come and ask for prayers, then that's what you need to do. And we have an opportunity for that now to pray with each of us, to pray for us, to forgive our sins, to be the kinds of sons and daughters and moms and dads that we ought to be, to make life here what it ought to be. If we can help you in that, I hope you'll let us. If you're ready to pledge your heart and your life to the God that gave you your mom, you can do that now. You need to believe in Jesus. You need to confess your belief in Jesus. You need to repent of the sins that would break God's heart, break Mom's heart. Need to be immersed in water for the remission of all sins so that we can be what we need to be here and in the hereafter with Jesus, with the best who've gone before us, and hopefully with Mom and Dad also. If we can help you in this, would you come now while we stand and sing?